is just I took an urban economics class in like, I don't know, third year for fun, and it had this like crazy for fun. It was great. Actually, I quite enjoyed it. But anyway, so it was like, and it was a pretty neat class, and so it had a couple like cool things. But one of them was like there was two classes on riot theory, and so let me back up for 1 second, because like human synchronization is such an important topic, because the entire efficient market hypothesis assumes a bunch of independent rational agents, and it doesn't assume what happens if everyone does the same thing at the same time. Like where is what are the implications of that? And it turns out they're ferocious. And if you look at it, you go like humans at times will naturally synchronize, and it just naturally, like organically, and I think like there's some really cool videos you're looking at on YouTube where it's like, it was like there was an audience in like Prague or something at the end of a concert, and the audience is all doing their independent clapping, and at some point somehow like some tipping point is reached, and there's enough of like people clapping at the same time where the whole audience goes like, and there's a tipping point, and suddenly everyone's clapping at the exact same time, and you can see the audience going, what's going on? This is weird. But it's like it's suddenly you've got 5,000 people just naturally organically synchronizing, and you go, that's cool, no problem with that, right? That's kind of a neat story. And then you have like other kind of synchronizations, which were like maybe can be more destructive. Like in 2000, London built their Millennium Bridge, right? And it was like this brand new, very exciting. They opened it to the public for the first time, and they closed it 2 days later because it nearly tore itself apart in the first 2 days. And the issue was like everyone knew that like if you put soldiers across the bridge marching at the same time, like that could be a natural frequency, and if you get that wrong, the bridge will oscillate to it and you can destroy it. So engineers know that, and so they make sure they engineer bridges without the natural frequency of human footsteps. What they got wrong here was that this bridge had enough flexibility to it that when people started walking, it started to sway a little bit. And as it started to sway a little, a tipping point was reached, and suddenly everyone had to start walking at the same time because they're all counterbalancing the sway, and it started to make it sway more and more and more. And so they had forced a synchronization on a group of people, and that forced synchronization was extremely destructive because these things become naturally self-reinforcing, right? And that's what the riot theory was actually about as well, because the riot theory was like, it's like there's a continuum of people. From people who are willing, and this is riot as in like who's willing to get out there and throw a rock and smash a window, riot theory. And if you think about it, if you've got like a certain percentage of the population is just willing to go out and throw a rock and smash a window at any time, right? Because yeah, why not? And the why not that most people answer is because I could get arrested or go to jail or get caught on YouTube and face like get fired, because there's repercussions, and the fear of that repercussion is what stops some people from doing it. Now, there's some people who would never. Doesn't matter how. If you guaranteed you never get caught, some people will still never get involved in a riot. But there are plenty of people who go, might be fun. Why not? And if enough people, and as more people get involved, it starts to get safer. It's the same thing. Like there's a great video on YouTube of people dancing, and the first guy out there dancing by himself on the field, I think he's high as a kite, is just doing his thing, and he's by himself for like 10 minutes. And then the second dancer comes in. And it's always the most important dancer is the second dancer. It's the person who joins, and someone will go, oh, that's cool. And the next thing you know, everyone joins. And it happens very quickly. There's a tipping point, it turns over. Riot,
that's my specialty.
That's right, exactly. So riot theory is that. It's enough people get involved. You got 5 people walking down the street, like smashing windows, the police can arrest them. But if 10,000 people go down the street, the police have to step back and try and clean up the mess the next day.
Harold DeBoer from Transfriend has a really good invocation or metaphor of this as well, with flocks of birds, right? Yep. So think about migrating birds, and they're flying down the coastline, and only a very small fraction of the birds knows where they are at any given time, right? And it turns out they've modeled this, and they've been able to confirm it empirically, that so long as a number of birds equal to the square root of the total size of the flock knows where they are at any given time, then there's enough sort of whatever it is, mimetic sort of gravity between the flock that it can keep the flock flowing in the right direction, right? It's like this criticality of information that then allows the entire group to rally in the right direction, right?
Exactly.
All kind of the same phenomenon.
And so that's what I was thinking. So I watched that video on clapping. Actually, it was the one on clapping. I went, that is so crazy how humans can get together and suddenly they're all working together. And I thought, that's a lot like what's happening in investing right now. Because at the end of the day, like the efficient market hypothesis kind of goes like we're all independent beasts. And he goes, well, what happens? Like, and we always had investment clubs, and you had hedge funds who controlled a lot of money, and pension plans who like collecting more money. But like what happens when you have like a Reddit army of 3 or 4 million people who get together and they go, here's what we're going to buy today, and we're going to try and and it's sophisticated, like not like like we're going to understand we're going to like understand what the pressure points on the short sellers and what a gamma squeeze is, and but like, hey, if we all get together and no one sells and everyone buys, like what will happen? You go like that giant collusion, if 5 people go walking down the street smashing windows, you can arrest them. If 10,000 people go down the street smashing windows, that's a riot. You got to step out of the way. And that can expand. That can like if enough people get into it, it can go across the entire country. If 2 million people are walking down the street, that's a revolution, and that can overthrow a system. And who knows what the system's going to look like the next day? And I feel like there's an interesting, we're at a very, very interesting time right now, because there is a bit of a revolution going on, where suddenly we've got millions of people going like, we can all in concert attack the market with a stated goal of disrupting it.